Ready? Ready.
What's up, guys? It's Pick'em with HuddleGG, and welcome back to another episode of Ask Huddle. If you guys are new here, this is a series that we do each week where we answer your guys' questions. So if you have a question you'd like answered in a future video, wherever you're watching this, just make sure you leave that in the comment section below, and we will do our very best to get to it. You can also ask us in our Discord. It's completely free to join. Just make sure you go to HuddleGG/Discord. But with that being said, let's dive right into this week's episode. And this week, we're going to be talking about cover one. We're going to talk about what the coverage is. We're going to talk about the different types of cover one. We're also going to talk about how we can attack cover one from the offensive side of things. But first, we need to talk about what is cover one when it comes to the defensive side. And if we're calling it, or if our opponent's calling it, we need to understand how the rules work and what this coverage means. So first of all, if we come out defensively in cover one, it's going to look something like this. There are a few different types of cover one calls, and we're going to go over those later in this video. But all cover one calls are going to share a few things in common. They're all going to have one deep safety. That's where the name cover one comes from, is the number of deep safeties on the play. And that's going to be this player right here in the deep zone. Then they're also going to have man coverage across the board. So you see, obviously, all four receivers and the running back are in man coverage. Now, this yellow zone here, this guy can change dependent on the type of cover one call. Again, we will touch on that in a little bit. But in general, again, what we're going to get with cover one is we're going to get one deep safety. We're going to get man coverage across the board. Now, the way that these players are going to play their man coverage in terms of their shading is going to be universal across all cover one calls as well. So what you're going to see is we're going to get unique shading with these guys. I am going to just say hike real quick, throw the ball away, because my outside corners had gotten a little bit of a weird alignment because I'd been sitting here in practice mode for a little bit. But if we look at the defense here, again, we're going to notice that there's going to be different rules for each man defender, dependent on where they line up on the field. Okay, so if there's a receiver that is outside the numbers, so you can see here, we have our two outside receivers are both outside the numbers. They are going to be shaded to the inside. Okay, now any receiver that's inside the numbers is going to be shaded to the outside. Now, why is this? It's because our defensive players who are in man coverage are going to be pushing their receivers to the help. So if we're looking at this play here, where is the help to the middle of the field for our inside corners, right? It's those two zones, right? We have the yellow zone and we have the deep blue. So the inside corners, right, the guys that are defending players inside the numbers are going to shade to the outside, take away the outside routes themselves, and try to funnel those receivers into the zones which are in the middle of the field. Now, our outside receivers are going to play the opposite because their help is to the sidelines, or our outside cornerbacks, right? So our outside cornerbacks are going to play inside leverage because they're going to try to funnel or push the outside receivers to the sideline, which is where their help is on a cover one call. Okay, so if we just run something on the offensive side of things right here, where we just send everybody on a streak, right? Just so you can see what this shading is going to look like. And we say hike, and we're just going to sit here. We're going to throw the ball away. And we're going to go into replay and really look at how these DBs are playing based off the alignment of the receivers. So if we look at this replay here, you're going to see that, again, this player here is inside the numbers. So if he's inside the numbers, we're going to get a natural shade to the outside from our corner, which is what you'll see there. He's going to shade to the outside, which is, again, funneling this receiver into his help, which is going to be the linebacker and then the deep safety on this play. If we look over here, you're going to see the same exact thing. You're going to see this receiver is inside the numbers, so our DB is going to shade outside, again, funneling him inside to his help with the two zones to the middle of the field. Now, if we look to our outside players here, you're going to see that they are going to shade to the inside. Okay, so you see that he's on the inside hip of this receiver, which is, again, funneling him to his help, which is the outside or the sideline here. Okay, so you can see just by these two guys here, right? They're both on streaks or fades down the field. This guy is going to shade to the inside. This guy is going to shade to the outside, simply because of where they are lined up on the field. And on the left side of the screen here, we are going to get the same thing. You can see the outside corner is shading to the inside, and the inside corner is shading to the outside. Now, again, this is going to be the same across all cover one calls. So whether it's cover one hole, cover one robber, cover one linebacker blitz, anything like that, the man coverage defenders are still going to shade that way based off of where the receivers are aligned on the play. But with that being said, let's dive into what those different cover one calls are in the game and what we should expect from each of those calls. Here we're going to talk about the different types of cover one defenses available to us in Madden. And if I pull up my audibles here, you're going to see that we have cover one hole, we have cover one robber, we're going to have cover one contain, and we're going to have LB blitz 1. Now these are 4 different types of cover ones that you're going to see in the game. Now you may see one that says cover one hole press or cover one robber press. It's going to be the same thing we talk about here in this section, other than obviously the DBs are going to be pressed in those plays automatically, but you could always create a cover one press by just coming out in cover one hole or cover one robber and then just pressing your defense. So we're not going to individually go over the specific ones that say press in the name. We really want to talk about what the difference is between hole, what's the difference between robber, contain, and LB blitz 1. So let's first go to cover one hole, and this is probably going to be the main one that you're going to see. And this is going to be where we have our deep middle safety, which all of these are going to have. We're going to have our guys manned up, which all of these are going to have. We're going to be rushing 4, which is going to be what all of them have, and then it's the extra defender that's going to change. So in cover one hole, the extra defender is this linebacker who's dropping into the 3-rec hook. Okay, so with cover one hole, your linebacker, one of your linebackers is going to drop into this short little hole area of the field over the middle. Now, if we audible to something like cover one robber, first things first, you're going to see that we now have the yellow coming from the top. Okay, so robber means that yellow, even though this is the same coverage in terms of we have a deep blue, we have a 3-rec hook, we have everybody else manned up, where that 3-rec hook is coming from is the difference between cover one hole and cover one robber. Cover one robber, again, is coming from this safety position where at the start, we're going to have this 2 high safety look, which can be really nice because, again, this does not look like a cover one look from the offensive side of things, right? We have 2 deep safeties. This, if I was looking at it, I would not think, oh, he's in cover one. But once the play would start, you're going to see that this safety would rotate down to this whole area, and then this safety would rotate deep over the top, cover his area of the field. Now, if we come back out in another play here, we'll look at the other 2 options that we have and talk about what those are. So if we come out and I look at our third option here, it's going to be cover one contain. Now with cover one contain, what you'll see a lot of times is your 2 edge players are going to be containing naturally. You don't have to set this contain up. Okay, so they're going to contain, and then that extra defender is going to be a QB spy over the middle. Okay, so you see the left of screen middle linebacker here is in a QB spy. That's what you're going to get with a QB contain look. And then the last one here we're going to have, it's going to be LB blitz 1. You may see these called a little bit different things in different formations, but essentially what it is that extra defender is now a blitzer. Okay, so we're still having the deep middle zone, we still have everybody manned up, but that extra defender, rather than being in a zone or being in a QB spy, he is going to be blitzing after, and we're now going to be sending 5 in a look like this. But other than that, you're not really going to see any difference between these coverages. Again, make sure you understand that the coverage aspect, the rules of the man coverage guys that we talked about in the last section, whether they are outside or inside the numbers, that is the exact same across all of these different cover ones. All of these are also going to have that 1 deep middle of the field safety. Again, whether he rotates back there, if that 2 high look on cover one robber, or if he's just starting back there like you see here with a 1 high look, again, he's going to stay there. The man coverage is going to stay the same. The only thing that's changing is that extra defender here. Again, whether he's in a yellow from the linebacker, that's going to be cover one hole. If he's in a yellow from the safety, that's going to be cover one robber. He may be in a QB spy on cover one contain, and then he may be blitzing on a play like linebacker blitz 1. Here we're going to start to look at how we can attack cover one from the offensive side of things, and the first one we're going to talk about is going to be the easiest to attack in my opinion, and that's going to be when they press their defense or they come out in something like cover one press. Now all we really need to do is run a fade route to the outside receiver, but a route that works really well are these old school fade routes that you can see here to the right side of the screen. So if you have this route in any of your formations, I like it with the player on the line of scrimmage as well to start the play. But this route is going to get open a ton of times out there. But on the left, if you ever do just want to throw a fade out there, or you could put a curl and custom stem it down the field, that's also an option. That will get pressed more consistently than the route to the right side of the screen. But what you're going to see here is if we look to the right side of the screen, the second that we have him beat, we're just going to lob the ball over the top. Because again, if we look at the defense, they don't have any deep zones playing to the outside, right? The only deep zone they have is playing the middle of the field. So we don't want to attack there. We want to attack to the outside. So if we say hike here, you're going to see we win that off the press. We're just going to lob that ball over the top. And that was a bad throw by our quarterback. Let's run that one more time. He underthrew that tremendously. But if they're pressing here, you're going to see that, again, all we need to do is throw that route to the B on the right side. We're just going to lob that ball over the top. And you can see if we throw that out in front of the receiver, we're going to be able to get big yards down the field time and time again. You can also free form, or you can push left bumper when you are making this throw, just to make sure that you do throw it a little bit further down the field. But once again, that route to the right side of the screen, we say hike, we see him went off the line. We're just going to step up, we're going to lob that ball, and once again, you can see that we're just able to get an easy completion down the field. I have as much speed on that outside corner as I can get in Ultimate Team right now, so it's not a speed issue. I believe those two guys have the same exact speed, but once we get a step here against press, we just would throw that ball over the top. Now that time, we do see that he does get a nice press animation, which will happen at times, right? It's not 100%, but if we run it one more time, you'll see about 4 out of 5 times here that we've ran it. We're going to get that win. Again, whether he wins to the inside or outside, it doesn't really matter. We're just going to lob that ball over the top. And again, as long as our quarterback doesn't underthrow him like he did on the first rep, we're going to be able to get that easy big play down the field, and also possibly a one-play touchdown. So you see here in the replay, if we look, again, whether he went to the inside or outside, once we see this little him swatting his hands away and getting that just half yard of separation here, we can just throw this ball over the top and lob it. Obviously, you want to have a decent speed receiver out there. You don't want to have somebody out there with 85 speed against a 94 corner, because that corner could catch up. But as long as you have an equal speed difference out there, or you even have the advantage, you're just going to be able to lob that ball over the top for the easy one-play score against cover one when they are looking to press. Here we're going to talk about a couple of other ways that we can attack cover one defenses, and the first concept we're going to talk about is going to be a mesh concept, or 2 crossing routes over the middle of the field, as you can see here with the Y and the A, running these short drags, and you want to run these from slot receivers. And the reason why we're doing that is we're taking advantage of the leverage that cover one has on the play, right? We talked about any receiver that's inside the numbers is going to be naturally shaded to the outside, so we want to attack the defenders according to that. Now, with the defense, they are going to have one player in the middle of the field with the 3-rec hook, but he's not going to be able to cover both of our crossers, right? Both of our crossing routes or our drags here should be able to get inside leverage on their man coverage, and we should be able to throw whichever one the 3-rec does not follow. So if we go to say hike here, you're going to see if he goes one way, we're going to throw it the other. Okay, and we're going to have the ability to get leverage on that corner because of the way that he's going to naturally shade to the outside. So if we look at the replay here real quick, you can see that this corner in front of number 8 here is going to play with an outside technique, so he's not going to be quick to the inside breaking routes, right? So you see here, we're just going to be able to throw that, and if we notice this player here, he's also getting inside leverage on his player, right? So again, the 3-rec hook, or the user, whoever this may be on the play, if he goes to the left to help cover that, we're going to throw right. If he would go right here to help cover this, then we would have just thrown it back here to the left. So both of these routes here do a really good job of attacking cover one underneath. And again, just throw away from the user, or throw away from that extra hole defender there on the field. Now, I do want you to pay attention to the separation that we can create here, again, due to us attacking the leverage of the defensive backs. And then if we look at this receiver here, the difference in these guys, right? So this guy's outside the numbers to start, and he's doing an in-breaking route. What did we say about receivers that are outside the numbers? We said that the corner is going to naturally shade them to the inside. So if we're trying to run an in-breaking route from an outside receiver, you can see that the DB is right on top of this. Look at how close he is compared to this route versus how close this player is compared to the drag. Now, the drag itself is going to do a pretty good job at getting open, so that does come into play here as well. But also the natural shading of those DBs is what really opens up this route, but really doesn't open up this route here, because we're not running against the leverage appropriately to the outside player like we would be to the inside player here. Now, what's something that you can do to an outside player if you want? Now, one thing that you can do is you can run a comeback. Okay, so comebacks do a really good job because, again, these guys are going to be shaded to the outside, and you can run this to either side of the field as well. And let's say that you want to set up the double crossers or the mesh concept over the middle, and then we want to set up comebacks to the outside. One thing that I like to do, and we like to do at Huddle, is we like to custom stem up the comebacks once or twice on the D-pad, just to make them a little bit deeper. Gives them a little bit more separation when they're breaking back towards the ball. But here, we're just going to say hike, and again, we could still throw those drags anytime we wanted, but we're also going to be able to throw that comeback there because we're, again, attacking the leverage of the DB. So if we look at the replay here real quick, you're going to see one thing that we have is we have the opportunity, again, to attack the outside because this player is going to shade to the inside naturally on an outside receiver. So you can see here, we're going to play that to our advantage. We're going to throw that comeback, possession catch that, and get ourselves an easy pickup down the field. Now, what is a play that's going to do a good job against press, against off coverage, and really attack in different areas of the field? And that's going to be a play in spread that I like to run called shallow cross. Okay, so shallow cross here, it's called Y shallow cross in this, but you'll find other shallow crosses, things like H shallow cross, you'll find different things like that. Again, this one's going to be Y shallow cross, probably going to be the one you see more often than anything else. And what this is going to do a good job of is it's going to have two crossers over the middle. You're going to have the drag from the right, and then you're going to have a dig from the left slot receiver. Now, if you don't like the dig and you just want to put him on another drag to create that mesh concept, that is perfectly fine. But what you're going to see just on the play stock here, we're going to have the fade to the right side of the screen. So if they look to press their coverage, we're going to be able to throw that B over the top like we showed earlier. We can just put our left of screen cornerback on, or left of screen receiver on a comeback and custom stem him up once. And now we can really attack to anybody on the field. You can block your running back. If you want to send him out to the flat just to give yourself an extra outlet, that's perfectly fine as well. But what we're going to do here is we're just going to attack the leverage across all areas of the field, right? So if we say hike here and we see that our drag gets open, we can just throw that because of the separation that he gets, and we can get ourselves an easy read there. And again, if we look at the replay, you're going to see that because this inside guy is shaded to the outside, we're going to be able to get the leverage there. You can see the dig is also coming open, right? The dig has beaten his guy because this player is shaded to the outside. So we're going to be able to break to the inside and win this. And again, from there, it's really just about reading the players on the field that are helping out, right? Now, if you do want to send your running back out, that'll get this player out of the field as well. Because the running back's blocking, we actually added another defender to the middle. So just send your running back out if you're worried about that. But you're going to see, again, let's say the 3-rec, which is this guy, he chases the drag. Okay, that's going to open up this dig once he gets across the middle, right? We could throw this into this area here. There's a ton of open grass to do that. Now over here, we have the comeback. And again, because this player is shaded to the inside, that's going to give us the opportunity to have this guy breaking to the outside like we just showed in the previous rep. And then over here, we talked about this route will absolutely destroy press coverage. This isn't something that I would look to unless they're pressing. But if they're pressing, this fade here on this outside receiver does a phenomenal job. So again, just running this play stock, putting the left of screen receiver in a comeback, that's all you'd really need to do. And then you can either leave your running back in a check and release, you could send him out to the flat, something like that. You're going to have a lot of options to attack cover one. And again, it's just all about, are they pressing? Where's the user covering? But make sure that you're understanding what the leverage of cover one is and you're attacking it appropriately on the offensive side of the ball. And if you guys are looking to get even better at Madden or college football, make sure to join our free Discord by going to HuddleGG/Discord.